Summer can be a tough time for gamers, with most of the major releases slanted for the holiday season, or earlier on in the year. Summer can really be a drought for content. So, as gamers, we have a choice. We could pick up an older game that we haven't got around to playing yet, or we could pick up one of the more under-the-radar releases. One such under-the-radar release, a term I'm using very loosely mind you, is Katherine. This game was originally released in Japan back in February, and has just seen a US release here in July. This game had seen excellent sales, selling 140,000 units in Japan on its opening week alone, and even I managed to just grab the last copy of this game from my local game store. But even with all this hype surrounding it, is this game any good? Well, let's take a look and find out. In this game, you take on the persona of Vincent Brooks. Vincent is a 32-year-old programmer who is having conflicting thoughts regarding his long-time relationship with his girlfriend, Katherine. While Katherine wants him to settle down a bit and even proposes the idea of marriage, Vincent isn't quite sure what he wants to do with his life. The next night, Vincent meets a young girl named Katherine. This is gonna be fun. Katherine is a much younger and attractive girl than Katherine, who has an affection for Vincent. The next night, Vincent hooks up with Katherine, but can't remember a thing. Not having the heart to mention that he already has a girlfriend, he reluctantly keeps Katherine around. This becomes more problematic, however, as he realizes that Katherine is pregnant with his child, and he finds that Katherine has become more possessive of him, and that she's downright crazy. Confused yet? To top it all off, there have been a mysterious string of deaths, all including men who have died in their sleep. Every night, Vincent has recurring nightmares, but he can't remember them. Each nightmare Vincent faces has him climbing a massive wall with the floor crumbling underneath him. And the kicker is, if you die in this dream, you die in real life. He soon discovers that he is sharing one dream with many men, who all appear as sheep in the dream. Sure, why not? These men have all been cursed to have the same deadly nightmare each night, unless they can reach the top of this tower. So, it's up to Vincent to settle his rather comical relationship issues while fighting for his life night in and night out. The gameplay in this game is split up into two segments. The first segment is when Vincent goes to the bar every night. While at the bar, you can drink, which will affect how quickly you move in your dreams, talk to other patrons to unravel more mystery of the game's story, play arcade games, or answer texts from Katherine or, you know what, screw it. This is 1 and this is 2. You can answer texts from either Katherine 1 or Katherine 2 to affect your karma meter. Your karma meter will slide to either good or bad depending on how you answer certain questions in the game, and this will affect Vincent's responses in many of the cutscenes. You were given many choices in all of the events, and you could end up with one of 8 endings. The other half of the gameplay takes place in Vincent's nightmares. These segments require you to move blocks around in order to climb a wall, similar to Qbert. There are 8 dreams overall, and each dream has between 2 and 4 walls to climb. While climbing, you may run into other sheep who may try to push you off the wall in order to progress, and you also may find many different styles of blocks. They start off just being basic, but as you progress, you will encounter blocks that are icy, forcing you to slip off the edge, or even blocks with spike traps in them that kill you if you aren't moving fast enough. As if all of that wasn't enough, the floor is constantly crumbling beneath you, so if you aren't fast enough, you will fall to your death. But it isn't all bad. Between levels, you will be on a landing with other sheep. While here, you can learn other techniques from other sheep, or buy power-ups with money you acquired from the levels. These power-ups vary from giving you energy drinks that allow you to climb 2 blocks at once, to the ability to place a block wherever you please. Overall, this campaign will run you somewhere between 7 and 10 hours, depending on how many times you rage quit on these levels. Along with just story mode, there is also Babble mode. This mode has you scale a wall while having to meet certain requirements along the way. You can play this mode with up to 2 players, but be warned, if one of you dies, it's game over. Now for the reviewing segment of this episode. The graphics in this game are pretty good. The nightmare sequences are well put together, and even the cutscenes are given a very anime look without looking too cartoonish overall. The gameplay is also fairly solid. There really isn't much to walking around the bar, but during the dream sequences you do hold a fairly good control over Vincent, and you do have the ability to take back a certain amount of moves if you make a mistake. There is, however, one problem I found with these sequences. The camera. The camera is fixed in one location, which is mostly not a problem as you only face one direction, but there are times when you must deviate from the normal path, and the camera only has a very small sweeping function, thus many times obscuring your view of Vincent entirely. So, in conclusion, what are my final thoughts on this game? Well, strangely enough, I feel this game would be better without much of the gameplay itself. Allow me to explain. While the dream sequences are well put together, they at times can be unfairly hard. This can cause these segments to drag on for hours and really slow down the pace of the game. This is unfortunate because many people will just want to play the game for the story, as it's very well put together and at times extremely funny. So, in other words, this game really would simply have worked better as an anime rather than a game. That being said, the story alone is definitely worth it if you can persevere through the tough stages. So, if you're a fan of anime-style games or like challenging puzzle games, Katherine is definitely for you. So, until next time, this has been eDog. Or is it eCat? Or is it eCatherine? Ah, screw it. See you next time.